Hey guys, welcome back to the Cutting Edge Garage. Today I'm going to take you on a quick walkthrough and demo of the TEXA Truck Software. TEXA offers some of the most robust and complete coverage out of any aftermarket HD truck and medium duty truck scan tool. So let's dive in and take a look. Alright, this is the first screen where we make our first selection of what type of vehicle we're working on, whether it's heavy duty, medium duty, or light commercial vehicle. We can also make selections just by powertrain if you just want to select the motor you're working on, or if you want to make a selection on the trailer. That's useful for like Wabco Bendix systems and the trailer brake systems. Alright, so let's jump right in. Let's go into heavy duty and bus. And today I'm going to take a look at a Freightliner with a Cummins. You can also, if you guys can see the orange button on the right hand side of the screen, that's the automatic VIN scan. That can save you a little bit of time. If you go in, it'll just scan the VIN on the vehicle, make the selection for you, and then you're done. Today, since we're doing a demo mode, let's jump in. Let's say we're working on a Cummins. Alright, so let's take a look on the far left hand side of the screen. The first option you guys see there is the eTruck Workshop. Now, if you're not familiar, eTruck is actually TEXA's remote diagnostic tool. It is way more than like telematics or fleet management, something like that. It will actually let you diagnose, clear codes. If you have a truck sitting on the side of the road in regen that's 2,000 miles away, you can, from your computer, reset the codes, clear the codes, do your DPF and SCR resets, and force a regen all from anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. So it's extremely useful for fleets in saving on like a tow bill, which can be over $1,000 on like if you got a 53-foot trailer and a sleeper cab truck that's loaded down. I mean, that's going to be a hefty tow bill. So your shop foreman can force the regen from sitting at his desk at the shop, and also pull off any data he needs. All right, so our next option is wiring diagrams. So let's take a look real quick. Let's go into diesel injection. Let's say we got to pick which engine we're looking at. So let's go ISB 6.7 with the CM2350, a pretty common setup nowadays. All right, as you can see, we got access to all the wiring diagrams here we would need for the engine. I can actually tap and select, and it'll bring up it'll just tell me what that component is on the wiring diagram, like it's the engine fault warning light. Let's see what this sensor is here. This is a NOx sensor upstream of the SCR catalyst, and some of them will have this card available. This one's just a generic card. So this basically describes what the sensor does. It'll give you a picture of what it looks like, and actually the theory and operation of how it works, which can be really useful. If you want to be a good technician, understanding how the system works is the first step into making a proper diagnosis, in my mind anyway. All right, next one is the technical data sheets. So let's just take a look at EPA 71013. This is where a lot of really useful technical data will be, and in particular on the Cummins engines, like we have the VGT Cummins actuator. That's the variable geometry turbo actuator. This actually gives you a step-by-step walkthrough with pictures on how to replace and calibrate the new that new VGT actuator. Nice color pictures, leaves nothing up to guesswork. Really handy for that procedure. All right, the next one is this. You'll see this special code. Now, in the past, the web special code, that basically will unlock all of the really advanced functions of your TEXA scan tool. And the way it used to work in the past is you always had to have an internet connection, because it wants to talk back and forth to the TEXA servers to kind of track what you're doing when you made the repair to the vehicle. So if something does go wrong, we can go back through that data and make the adjustments we need to. But now it works on a token system. So as you can see, the number of special adjustments I have left are 5. So now I can make 5 high-level advanced adjustments in the settings menu, which I'll get to shortly, without having to have an internet connection. So if I'm in the field, way out in the middle of nowhere with no cell signal, of course no Wi-Fi, that's not going to affect my ability to repair the vehicle. All right, next one is just customer management. So this will let you store a diagnosis essentially on a customer by customer basis. So if you ever need to go back and reference a diagnosis, you can go back and view that information. If you need to be reminded of repairs you've done in the past, and that can be really useful. Alright, that covers all the major points I wanted to hit, so let's go back to self-diagnosis here. Our first option is the TGS3S scan, so that's going to be the total global scan. That is going to ping every module available on the vehicle and then show you the status of it, whether it's got communication or not, and tell you if there's trouble codes present and how many trouble codes and what they are. So we have a demo mode available on this, so let's jump right into it. I want you guys to see what that looks like. Alright, it wants to turn the key on. It's going to go ahead and scan. It is worth noting this is a recording from a live vehicle. This isn't just a simulation somebody made on the computer. This was all taken off of a live vehicle. Alright, so you see we got a lot of colors here on the left hand side of the screen. The red X, that means that we have no communication with that module, which generally means it's not installed on this vehicle. Like this vehicle wouldn't have like an air conditioner module, so we don't have communication, so it just gets a red X. The yellow symbol with the triangle, that means that module is available and we have trouble codes in it. So real quick, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I just like to hit this flashing button in the bottom right, and that will expand and drop down all of the modules so I can see what all the codes are in every single module. So like in diesel injection, what do we got? We got coolant level sensor, ambient air sensor, SCR monitoring system malfunction, and also we can go ahead and see our automatic transmission codes and our ABS codes all on one screen, which is really nice. And a new feature they did just add, if I select one of these codes, you can see on the far right hand side I have a wiring diagram icon. So that means I can highlight that code and I can hit the wiring diagram button. All you got to do here is pick which engine you're working on. So we'll say we're on a ISB67 with the CM2350. Then boom, see it's highlighted that sensor for me right on the wiring diagram. So that makes for a fast and easy diagnosis right there. See I got a 3-wire sensor with, looks like it's probably a common ground, and then in the middle wire we got our signal wire to the ECM, and then a common power. So immediately I know I can check my signal on the purple wire, see if that matches what the ECM is saying, and then I can verify if the sensor is good or not, check my power and ground, and then without having to go to another computer for any additional repair information, I can make my diagnosis right then and there. So that's really handy, really fast. Now if I want to go into a module and get more in-depth information, all you got to do is just double click or double tap on the module itself. And also warn you if you think your battery voltage is getting a little low, which is handy. Can't tell you how many times I've had a battery get too low and I'll lose communication during the middle of a diagnosis, and that's frustrating because I forgot to hook up my battery charger. Alright, so you can see right away that it defaults us right to the error screen or the fault code screen. That's usually the first thing you want to see when you're diagnosing a vehicle. And you'll have different colors for different faults. See, all these are red, and that means they are an active fault. Something's going wrong right now and the computer sees it, so that isn't an active fault. If it's yellow, that is a memory fault or an inactive fault. Green, when it turns green, that is when you've cleared the code. So if I press the eraser button right here in the bottom left, that will clear all of the codes. And instead of all those just disappearing, it will just turn that icon green to let you know that they've been cleared, which is really nice. There's been a few times when I cleared codes before I really should have, and it's nice to be able to go back and reference what those codes are, so you can go make your diagnosis from there. And those will just stay green until you back out of the module and then go back and start your diagnosis again, and then they'll actually be gone. You won't be able to see them after that. Alright, the other buttons we have available on the screen, bottom left we have a print button, so we can go ahead and print a report. The next button close to that is that's just a shortcut to the screens we were looking at earlier. So system sheets, vehicle sheets, and wiring diagrams are all available here. So like if I go here, there's that VGT Cummins actuator calibration procedure. So you'll kind of see that button sprinkled throughout the software here because it's really nice to be able to reference that no matter where you are. We can save this, so essentially that's just saving a report of what all fault codes are here, and then of course the erase button. Now I want to talk about some of the buttons we have on the bottom right hand screen of here. Now if you look at every single one of these trouble codes, you see some little icons off on the right. And the first one is the web icon, and that is TEXA's additional repair information. That is called iSupport. And that is an additional subscription. If you guys want additional repair information in your software, please give us a call. We can get that turned on for you, no problem. So it's going to go ahead and search the code. See, and now we have the symptoms, causes, and solutions for that trouble code, which is really nice to have all that baked in the one screen on the software. I don't have to run to another computer and gather any additional information. It's all right here at my fingertips. All right, the next button is just the wiring diagram button. And that is the same as earlier. If I highlight a code, select my engine, and then it's going to take me straight to the ambient air sensor on the wiring diagram immediately. I can see it is a 2-wire sensor. There's a card available for this one. And here it's going to take me to a temperature sensor card and give me the general theory and operation of that sensor and a picture of what it looks like. So right away I can see, looks like we got a common ground and then a signal wire to the ECM. So I can go ahead and check my ground, check what my signal wire is doing, and I can make my diagnosis from there. Easy peasy. Alright, last button is just the freeze frame information. That'll just give you your freeze frame information for when that code was stored, which can be handy in a diagnosis for sure. Alright, so let's jump over to our live data screen. As you can see, we got a ton of data PIDs, 174 data PIDs on this engine. And if you're scrolling through here trying to find one that you need, it can take just way too long. So what we can do here is we can use our filters. So now I can just go here and I can just type in, let's search for DPF. Because usually you want to see your DPF sit load, so we want to see all our differential pressures. Hit our check mark, boom, there's all of the data that I want to see. And also another thing you can do with filters, you can go to a favorites list. And we have some already pre-made for you of some data PIDs we think you want to see, like if you have wide engine smoke, here's some data PIDs you may want to look at. But you can also save. You can see, I hit this plus button, type DPF just like I did before. I want to see all these data PIDs on a particular screen because that's like a common thing I want to do when I'm checking the after treatment system, which you'll be doing a lot with these vehicles. I hit check. I'm going to save this as DPF data. Boom, there we go. That will always be there now. Not just on this vehicle. Anytime I work on an EPA 71013 ISV with a 6.7 and CM2350, which is a really common setup, this option will be there. My customized saved data PID list will be there, which is really handy. And you can also, all these other buttons down along the bottom, we just have the edit button going from left to right, then the delete button, you can trash it, and then of course you can print the report. So let's back out to our main live data. If you want to get rid of your filter, you just press the filter button again. Now we're seeing all the data PIDs. The next button, going from left to right, is the min-max refresh button. All that does, you see these two little numbers under every data PID that are red and green. Those are our minimum and maximum value, and the reset button just resets that if you want to see your min-max again. Next button is just, that's the same shortcut to our technical documentation. I'm not going to get into it again. It's the same stuff, same place we found the VGT actuator calibration. Alright, this next button is pretty neat actually. This is the dashboards. So this is just a visual representation of the data, and it can help you make a lot more sense of the live data. So this first one is just our fuel injection. So we can see our fuel rail pressure commanded, injector power supply, gallons per hour of fuel coming in. Well, if you arrow over to the right, now we're seeing the turbo. So we can see data like our EGR valve temperature, turbo actuator close actual value, and turbocharger RPMs all laid here in a visual way that makes it a lot easier to understand. And what dashboards are available will depend on the vehicle. They're available on most everything. This one is really handy too, actually. This is the after treatment system, so you can see your pressures and temperatures of the DOC and the DPF, and then the SCR system, so you can see NOx levels, diesel exhaust fluid temp, dosing rate, things like that. Alright, so that about covers the dashboards. The last button is just a report print button, so that's just going to print a report of all of our live data. So let's jump on over to the ECU Info tab. This is going to be all of your ECU control unit identification numbers, calibration IDs, serial numbers, VIN number will often be here as well, and your engine operating hours, which a lot of you guys like to see, will be right here in ECU Info. So not much going on there, just some general data that you may need to make note of. Alright, so let's jump over to the activation screen. Activations are just things you can turn off and on and tests you can run, not stuff you can change permanently. So here we have like our DEF system leak tests. Your cylinder cutoff test will always be here in activation. That's a common one guys will use. Fan test, like if you want to turn cooling fans on and off, you want to actuate solenoids, that's always in activations. The main difference between activations and settings is stuff you can change permanently. So when you change this stuff, it will stay changed. So let's take a look at settings real quick. Hang on, no, we're good. So let's take a look at settings real quick. This, like I said, this is going to be all the stuff you can change permanently. And you see a lot of these have the web lock icon on the far left side. When you first get your scan tool, there will be a form in the box you need to fill out. That's just called a web lock form. Basically, all it is a waiver saying that this software is capable of some very advanced features and functions. If you don't know what you're doing and you go in here and start mashing buttons, you can really mess stuff up. And basically, that's just saying that's not on us if you get in here and start pressing buttons and mess a truck up. But most common things people want to see that are in here are like after treatment filter reset when you either clean or replace the filter. Your DPF force regeneration will be in here as well. Another one is the, of course, idle speed and idle shutdown. You can get in here and change. You can either change the time it waits till it does idle shutdown or turn it off altogether. Something I do want to touch on in Cummins in particular is the maximum vehicle speed, because speed limiters are something that we want to see, or that customers want to change a lot. And the way it works, you have the OEM speed limit and the customer speed limit. And you have to change both of these. The customer limit can never exceed the OEM limit. So say your OEM speed limiter is at 60 miles an hour. It doesn't matter how high you put that customer limit, it will never go over 60. So the procedure for changing the maximum vehicle speed is go in here, change the OEM speed first to what you want it, and then change the customer to match it, and you're good to go. That's all there is to it. Also got your PTO, all your PTO configurations are in here. Reset NOx, that's one you're going to be using a lot in Cummins. So the procedure for that is generally when you want to do a regeneration, you reset the NOx first, then force the regen. That's how you do a regen on a Cummins CM2350. Pretty simple, easy procedure. Once you start it, it'll just go and go. Let's see, something else. Yes, down here at the bottom, another common one. VGT electronic actuator calibration will live here as well, and installation. And again, you got in the bottom left, you have a quick shortcut button right to the technical documentation where it will give you the step-by-step walkthrough and procedure for doing that VGT installation and calibration. Let's see. Only other thing you'd want to touch on, let me find, where's our, DPF, diesel particulate filter regeneration. So you can see it's got the yellow circle with a question mark on the right side. That means there's a help screen available. So let's see what it says. That just describes what the setting does. If you're not clear on what the setting does, this feature allows you to clean the particulate filter from soot. Alright, so that about covers all of the main features of the TEXA Truck Software. I tried not to get too into the weeds on this stuff, just hit all the major talking points. If you guys have any more questions, you want any more information on the TEXA software, please hit us up at CEASUSA.com or feel free to give us a call at 855-839-2626. We're always happy to help you guys field any questions you have. Even if you need help diagnosing a truck, please give us a call and we will help you out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.